Introducing the hosts of Wrestling with Freddie, Jeff Dye, and Freddie Prinze Jr.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Wrestling with Freddie, Wrestling with Friends. And we had a big week of wrestling. You know what? You know what we're going to do, Jeff?
What are we going to do?
Remember a guy from back in the day named Walter Winchell?
I do not. Who's Walter Winchell?
He was like a radio guy, and he had a radio show during like World War II, and he would end every show with good night and good luck. And then in his later years, he went from being a newsman to like a gossip guy. So I'm going to give you, Alex, and the wonderful listeners the good night, good luck version of this week's headlines in wrestling news. Ready? Ladies and gentlemen, in wrestling news, apparently Logan Paul and Roman Reigns will face each other for the Universal WWE Championship at the Crown Jewel. Many happen to think this is simply because the Saudi princes gave about $40 million to the WWE, and these matches make no sense. For instance, Bray Wyatt losing to Goldberg, and pretty much every other match they've ever had there. Moving on. AEW Moxley versus Bryan Danielson, going to be the championship match for the AEW World title at Arthur Ashe Stadium. On Wednesday, MJF cut another destructive promo, this time leaning into Jon Moxley. Does he know something we don't? Does he hope Moxley beats Danielson? Surely not. Danielson will be victorious. Also, the return of the black and gold. NXT is going back to its original format, and it makes Freddie's eyes very happy. Although the sweatshirt you're wearing in the Zoom call is very NXT 2.0, I must say. Very, you can't do that on television.
I like the color of it, but I just like the color.
You like the splatter paint. Dear God, I hated it. Oh, I forgot to say good night and good luck. Good night and good luck there. Threw that in.
There we go. Well, that's usually at the end, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Well,
We'll do it at the end. We'll do it at the end of the podcast. We'll hit you with
I'll forget, and then that'll be me screwing up 3 times.
Oh, no, you didn't screw up. I just Googled that guy. He looks exactly like he sounds. Walter Winchell.
That was his like famous voice. I think Stanley Tucci made a movie that George Clooney directed about like a certain period of his life, but I never saw it because I don't watch black and white movies anymore. That's why color's cool. Monday Night Raw, speaking of color, the most colorful man in all of WWE, Seth Rollins, opened the show. I've never had an issue with what any man wears because I don't care. I dress like crap. However,
well, this is costume. This isn't like,
Yeah.
You're not going, hey, I saw Jeff at the mall. He's wearing a weird thing,
Well, I already commented on your sweatshirt.
Yeah,
so
no,
maybe I'm going down this road.
Well, there's it is costume that you're criticizing, to be fair.
It's starting to get a little distracting, and it's starting to throw me off. And I love Seth Rollins, but I'm kind of done. He doesn't need a waiter's jacket. I don't care if it's purple, blue, white, red. I never want to see a waiter's jacket on one of the most legit, and I'm not saying Raiders jacket. It's a waiter's jacket, like the guy you see in the restaurant that's like, no, I'm sorry, if you don't have a reservation, you can't eat this evening.
The little
it's
towel
like
on his arm.
Kind of. Next week, he'll come out with a towel on his arm. Tonight, we have a fresh French beatdown for you, courtesy of Andre the Giant. But he came out there and he basically said he is done with Matt Riddle. But Jeff, Matt Riddle ain't done with Seth Rollins. Oh, yeah. No way, no how. He came down, had a little fight, had a little beefcake, and I don't want to focus on this story too much, but it leads into the story that I do want to focus on, because once he ran Seth Rollins' ass out of there, and I believe it was also because of the jacket and not because of the mean things that Seth said about him, all of a sudden here comes the Judgment Day. You and I have both kind of gone up and down with them. I think we're up on them right now. I feel Rhea has actually emerged as kind of the leader. They're trying to give everyone an equal opportunity so it can be this 3-headed monster, and I respect that. They're all taking advantage of it. I loved hearing the Irish Finn Balor say, bro, like trying to relate to him as they're trying to recruit Matt Riddle into the Judgment Day, whether they meant it or not.
Right.
And this turned into a match where Matt Riddle and Finn Balor got, I think it was 2 commercial breaks. So this was a 20 plus 25-minute match, bro. And they went back and forth, back and forth. Rey Mysterio gets in there and beats on Damian Priest a little bit to help kind of even the odds and get a little bit of revenge. At the end of the match, Seth, I guess, has been convinced that he's not going to be done with Riddle because he curb stomped him. I'm liking Judgment Day more and more. We'll get into Dominic now if you want. I think they let him speak too soon. But what did you think about all this?
I'm more in than I've ever been on Judgment Day. I like what's going on. I like the Dominic turn, but I still want to see what he's made of. I still want to see what's going on, and I don't think maybe it's too soon for him to talk, but like, I've had enough of Rhea talking for him. It seems like it's all Rhea.
Yeah, Ripley. It definitely would weaken him if it went on too much longer, but they let him talk, and he did his best, man. They tried to keep him real focused. The look was sort of off camera, which is either to help him feel comfortable, or maybe they were putting some dialogue off to the side, which they do a lot. In this case, I don't think they did. But they're getting better at it, if that is what it was. For me, though, it really was too much of a promo too soon. That said, the WWE, and I guess all professional wrestling, is a sink or swim business. And if I look back, which I won't be doing, if I look back at my first performances, I would probably jump off a bridge and hate them. But it was the best I could do based on how much of myself I was comfortable sharing and executing on camera at the time. So maybe I'm going to be more patient than others because I feel like I probably sucked early on, but I grew and got better. Some people might disagree. And I'm hoping for Dominic as well.
He just looks so young. It's tough for me to get over the look. And so it's not his fault. He can't change his voice. He can't change his face. And I'm sitting here going,
and he had to wrestle a man's man in Edge. You know what I mean? So, and he looks like a Viking. So granted, he gets help and assistance from everyone. And then the Judgment Day looks like they put Edge's leg on a chair, and Finn Balor's finishing move is called the coup de grace. And he jumps. I love this finisher so much. He jumps off the top rope, and instead of doing like a big belly splash, he lands with his feet right in your chest. And the way he lands protects you so beautifully. I've asked guys like, yo, that's got to hurt a little. They all have said the same thing. I've never even felt it. I couldn't even tell you what his boots feel like. Yeah, like that's how good he is with it. And his leg, my son and I watched it together. And my son goes, Dad, they really hurt his leg. They accidentally really hurt his leg. So it was a good moment. Got him out of there. He can figure out what his next step is, which I think he's going to do something with Priest maybe down the road, Damian Priest. But it established them as super legitimate. Edge is dead. They'll kill Rey next. And then I don't know where they go. I mean, you have to push Damian Priest after that, and you have to push Rhea Ripley after that. So I don't know if you're sending Rhea after the title for Bayley, because I would watch them right now because Bayley's going to take it off of Bianca, period. We'll get into that later.
That is also that's the real problem with Rhea being so part of this Judgment Day and all this stuff, is that she doesn't feel like she's in the women's division to me. She's more of like,
that's a great point, man.
A valet or a manager or something, or even a male wrestler, as opposed to like she could be beating the brakes off of all those girls over there. It's, and instead,
so maybe the plan was, let's establish this group as real killers and then see which one of them pops, and that's who's going to get the push. Unfortunately, everybody popped at different points.
Yeah.
So here's how I play it, because I want Rhea wrestling women quickly. You have this storyline. Well, let's get right into it. Damage Control, which is Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. We're just going to call them Io, Dakota, and Bayley, because otherwise it gets too Dr. Seuss and rhymey. Io and Dakota, who should have won the tag team tournament in the first place, take the titles off of Raquel and their perceived weak link, Aaliyah. And it may be more than a perceived weak link, because I think they're going to team her with Shotzi Blackheart based on what happened 4 days later on Friday Night SmackDown when she came out to save Raquel. You and I both love how they've positioned Bayley to look so far. The two women in her stable are both shorter and smaller than her. It makes her look like a star. She's a better talker than both of them. One, English isn't their first language, and the other just, Dakota just doesn't give the strongest promo. But Bayley can talk. Bianca Belair's having open challenge matches. Bayley basically could have fought her that night and said, nah, it's just not the right time. We're going to fight you on my time. She's the one acting like she already has the belt. So to me, she's winning it, which puts Rhea on the shelf even longer. But if Bianca can beat her, or if Rhea Ripley's the reason that Bayley loses, which I guess he couldn't do because that's heel on heel crime, then you can get Rhea into that championship picture, which she should be in. Maybe you can take them to both shows. Maybe Judgment Day can float to both shows and you could pick the champion that whichever opponent gets injured, all of a sudden Rhea just gets that story. But it's time for her to start killing people.
She's big. She's strong. She's got a great look. She's doing a cool thing.
She can talk. She can talk. She gets better all the time.
They're using her because Dominic can't talk. I mean, like, that's how great she is. Like, that they're having her put over like a son of a legend. But I like the way that they do make Bayley look big. They remind me of like the Singh brothers with Jinder Mahal, like these two little, but except they're way more capable. They're like the Bollywood boys.
You don't even have to say way more capable. You just have to say capable.
Yeah, but like the way that they're always getting in, and then Bayley's kind of protected a little bit, and then they get kind of whatever, and then
it's very old school how they're booking them, but they've made Bayley look great, and they've made me believe she can beat Bianca Belair. And Bianca's doing her thing, but I think you have to put the title on Bayley because she's a better promo. She really, for whatever reason, man, the crowd gets super pissed at her.
Yeah.
And even if she's not that mean, they get super pissed. Even when she screws up a promo, she gets mad at the crowd and blames them instead of her. Like, she's just on a different level right now. That injury time off, I think, while her body was healing, her brain was like, I could do this, I could try that, I could do this. And I think she's in a good spot right now.
And I'd watch Bianca Belair feuding with Bayley. I'd watch that forever. I think I like them both,
you could give them more than
great.
one. Yeah.
I'll watch them for forever.
So, Senor, I'm going to get to my best of the week really, really early in the podcast.
Okay.
Because Kevin Owens came out to interrupt Austin Theory and hit him. Well, he hit him. but before he hit him in the face, he hit him with a promo that I would put up there against anything MJF's done in the last year and a half.
Really?
And he's damn near almost done it 2 times in a week now. He was so real and so in control of every single moment. His walk, the stairs, the entrance into the ring, all while talking. He was patient. He was calm. And when it was time to go in on this guy, he went in on Theory. And when Theory's natural instinct is to look away, because if you look at him, you're going to want to punch him. Kevin Owens started pushing him and slapping him and demanding eye contact. And I felt he was saying some real stuff in there. And I think Kevin wants everyone who's nice to succeed. So it's not like, well, you got this opportunity because Vince was here, and now that he's gone, you're screwed. He put that in there for story. But he layered it with so much honesty and truth and said, prove me wrong. Prove these people wrong. Prove everybody wrong that you didn't need a handout. And he is just dead in his face. And then Theory has to like let all that sink in and his head's low. And the hope is that you're going like, he's going to see the error of his ways. And instead he just brings up this gorgeous bicep, dude. He's just got like probably the second best bicep in all of wrestling, minus Bobby Lashley, right? And he just looks at him and he goes, you'll never beat me. All right, so let's just have a fist fight. And they beat the living hell out of each other. They really hit each other a few times. Theory gets a bloody nose. They're screaming, yelling. My son again goes, Dad, I think he might have really broke his nose. Like my son was all in on this episode. But I love Kevin Owens. He would never get to cut a promo like this when Vince was there. And even when Vince was there, Kevin still had the best promos, period, out of anyone on the network. To see him get you over, or put you over is the term, and talk shit to you at the exact same time was just beautiful. And I love him. tell me you love the French. I know you don't love French Canadian Sami Zayn, but tell me how much you love French Canadian Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens is easily top 3 favorite wrestler for me of all time. I put him all time because he's great. He's got millions of moves. Great. I like that accent. It's perfect for a heel. I don't know if it was because of Owen Hart or like what, or Jericho. I don't know.
That's just how he sounds, bro.
But that stop it, like that, whatever that little, I don't know what the accent is. I can't do it, but it's perfect. And Kevin Owens is great. Stop thinking about all the moments that were handed to you and make your own. Stop thinking about, I think that's what he said. Stop thinking about all the things that were handed to you and start making your own moments. I was like, oh, this is so good. And if also,
he called him an appendix. You're the appendix of the WWE. You're totally disposable. Guys like me and Johnny Gargano are 1 in a million. Guys like you are an appendix.
Thousands of guys like you who fizzle out, chiseled, full of potential. I loved every second of it. I didn't have any like feelings like that, like, oh, this is real, or like he's actually trying. I mean, I think it was all well, worked out for sure. But
you're probably right.
I think just when he's in the ring, on the mic, or even just wrestling, there's nobody better than Kevin Owens. I also think this. Let me look at our notes. I think this might be my best of the week. Also, it was just so good.
I wouldn't be mad if this was your best of the week. I mean, what was better than that?
It's pretty good, and it did. I loved the way Austin Theory was looking away. I didn't think about it till you just said it, but that's true. He was kind of like looking away, and then he's like, "Look at me," and then he has to like look back up. And
he was demanding his attention.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
I loved it. I loved the blood at the end. They cut to a backstage later of Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley. And Bobby Lashley was dressed in street clothes, dressed nice, got his glasses. And my son, Rocky, goes, "Dad, is that his secret identity?" I said, what do you mean? He said, "Is his secret identity like a businessman? Because he totally looks like Bobby Lashley." I was like, dude, he's not a superhero, bro. He just has a better body than anything Rob Liefeld has ever drawn in his life.
I guess it's kind of,
shout out Bobby Lashley.
Your son's a genius. That's exactly what he is. Like, I'm going to start calling wrestlers that when you see him like at a restaurant and they're in street clothes, you're like, oh, he's
secret identity. It's his Bruce Wayne.
His disguise.
Dynamite, AEW. The tournament that was forced upon us because everyone at AEW hates everyone is in full speed ahead. We had Jon Moxley, the werewolf. He's a werewolf to me. That's how it looks like when he wrestles. Versus Sammy Guevara, who is a high flyer, risk taker, does the I'm crazy thing. If you haven't watched this guy, he will jump off anything. If you know the name Jeff Hardy, just think better looking version of Jeff, super handsome, super crazy, probably super dumb. He might be smart, but when you're jumping off stuff that high, there's got to be a level of dumbness. What's that song? If you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough. That's Sammy Guevara. So they have a match in typical AEW fashion, and it's brutal. And Sammy is just, his body is bending in ways that Gumby's body shouldn't bend. And Jon Moxley wins, which we would expect. And Bryan Danielson wrestled Chris Jericho, and they just fought for who got to be the parental figure in Daniel Garcia's life. And Jericho won that. So now it was predictable that he would give one back to Bryan Danielson, who we all love, probably arguably best wrestler not hurt today, I would say. When Randy Orton comes back, I think there's an argument for both those guys. But they have a match. He goes over. Now that leads us to Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley for the AEW championship, which is pretty cool. But no one cares because MJF is back, and MJF has a golden ticket to challenge whoever wins that championship. Now, in his promo the previous week, he spoke very heavily on Jon Moxley because Jon Moxley the previous week interrupted his promo, which would make you think last week that Moxley was going to win the championship and have beef with MJF. My stance is MJ is so good that he's like, no, I'm just going to talk smack on this guy. And then I think Jon Moxley behind the scenes is due a vacation anyway. So I think after he loses that to Bryan Danielson, Then he'll go away on vacation with his lovely wife, who did the final 5 episodes of Rivals Season 2 with me. Her name's Renee Paquette. She's friggin' awesome. Love you. Shout out to Renee. You're the best. Canadian chicks rule. That gives us Bryan Danielson, the sweetest, even when he's a bad guy, he's a nice guy. Sweetest, nicest, technical wrestler. Said things like, I don't care if I'm the champion. I just love being in big matches. Married a Bella twin. If you watch their Instagram, he's such an anchor for both Bellas who are like, idea. I have 27 ideas a minute. And he's like, let's focus on 2. And like brings it all, he's this very sort of guiding, warm light, wants to have a non-leather title because killing animals for their skin is cruel. He'd rather have a vegan belt. He is everything left in the world. And here comes MJF, who is going to literally shit on every philosophy that Bryan Danielson holds dear to his heart. He is going to annihilate him verbally because nobody can hang with this kid on the mic. And Bryan's good on the mic, but he cannot hang with MJF. You're going to see Bryan a lot of times laughing at jokes meant for him just based on his character, but it'll be real laughter and just enjoyment of somebody who is an absolute wizard on the microphone. I genuinely believe this is where they're going, and we're going to see MJF in a program with friggin' Bryan Danielson on television, and it's not going to be one of these one-time matches that they sometimes book for no reason just to have a match. It's MJF, so there's going to be a story involved. I'm guessing it's going to last at least 8 weeks, and it's going to be glorious. Jeff, could you be excited about any other 2-man wrestling for 8 weeks besides these 2 men?
I don't see every AEW match, but if MJF does anything, I watch it right away. Like I think he's the Bray Wyatt or Kevin Owens for me in the AEW. Like I like everything he does. I think he's just so funny. And even when he gets out of the ring and refuses to fight when he starts some trouble, like I even like that. I like we talked about it already on this podcast, but him not being able to get his shirt sleeve off over his big watch. That. I thought that was so funny. I think that I'm also impressed as a stand-up comedian how he's remembering the mic work that he does. Like because it's not like a joke where you repeat it over and over. He's somehow remembering these great, punched up, clever, well-timed, well-executed promos every single week. And it's very, very good. I love Jon Moxley. I love Bryan Danielson, but MJF is the GOAT of AEW and just the best.
Just to build on that and just to confirm what you said, the GOAT of AEW, this dude is so good that they sent out an entire faction, The Firm. I think it was like 6 different dudes, man. And it's basically Tony Khan saying, please get these guys over too.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's 2 guys in that group that you could get over. There, Page is in there. He's good. Not Cowboy Adam Page, Ethan Page, the Canadian guy that kicked the pizza guy. Did you see that backstage segment? He's so like, silly. Yeah, I'm a pizza, whatever his name is. Who cares? He got kicked in his face by a real professional wrestler. And that was awesome. I wish he would have kicked him harder. Ethan's in there. I think they could do something with him. And they have Morrissey, man. So he didn't look like he wanted to be there. So I don't know if that was intentional or not, or if that was him trying to look mean, but it looked like he just did not want to be there. And they're trying to get Stokely overall as well as a manager. If he's able to put his story over and get any of these dudes over in any way, shape, or form, then everyone just needs to bow down and we need to stop talking about the 4 pillars of AEW and just start talking about the one foundation that AEW rests upon, which are the broad shoulders of Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He's so money. I love this kid so much. And I feel like even when things get screwed up, it's okay. The seas there are stormy, man. He had a whole storyline with CM Punk ready to go. 8 months out, injured. Don't worry, I got this. Boom. And he just goes out there and kills it 3 weeks in a row. So
and
it's
even during
unbelievable, man.
all that mess of with the EVPs and the CM Punk and the scrum and all that crap that was going down, MJF acted like it wasn't even happening and just kind of came out and like was the star. People were talking about that mess and him returning, you know, with the Joker mask and all the stuff and the like. That's how good he is. He's just so good. And going back to Bayley, like when in WWE you were saying like how Bayley didn't take much for the fans to like boo her, you know, like when she was trying to be like a heel and crap on the crowd, she doesn't even really say anything that mean and they boo. MJF straight up calls Albany or like I'm trying to think of where he was, Syria, because I don't remember where it was, and he's like he's literally trashing them, and he's like he was poor like all you idiots, like he's just yelling at the crowd and they're cheering. They're like, yay, call us poor white trash again, MJF, you're the best. Like it's just he's exactly
defile us
when what you want your heel to be. He's the greatest heel.
It's crazy. It literally he's turned grown men into subs.
Sure.
It's weird, dude. It's weird. It's literally, they're like, yeah, man, let me get on my knees, paddle me, slap me, spit on me, pee on me, whatever you want, man.
Serious,
I love you. Like, that's crazy. And when you said it reminded you of stand-up comedy, I've always connected wrestling and stand-up comedy as near arts, right? They're very near to one another. They're not even cousins. They're brothers. They just don't see each other often. Yeah, man, it's you against the crowd a lot of the time. And they let you know if they're feeling you or if they're not. Yeah. And it's up to you to control and command that energy. And when you see masters do it, masters recognize that, right? Like you've been doing this long enough, you put in the hours, you're a master.
And even lines that aren't good, like, or not lines that aren't good, but lines that are supposed to be like setups or something. They're not like big punchline lines. He'll deliver it really over the top. And I'm like, what a choice for him to be like, and ooh, John Moxley. And he's imitating the way John Moxley walks. He's like, oh, you're like the big cool that, guy. By the way. And like
a werewolf.
So subtle. Like the way MJF is like, well, I don't know if subtle's the best word for it, but like every word counts is what I will say. Like
that's interesting because most comics that I speak to about you say, and they've all said it in a different way. Josh Wolf phrased it best. He said, Jeff has never wasted a word on stage.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Ever.
I think that about MJF. Like he is it's so
and
clean.
You recognize that in him. That's important. So crisp, and people don't understand all that mumbling bullshit. Kills promos. Hell, it kills podcasts if I get too you see, that's dead. Those are all dead words, man. Usually Alex would cut those. Please don't this time because it was an example of what not to do. But MJ doesn't have any of that nonsense. He's so in there, locked in. We're not gonna have a ton of time to talk about these guys, and I don't think you're watching their matches, but it's funny to me because they don't get enough time on their own show as well. The Hobbs and Starks storyline should be the number 2 storyline on AEW. It should be falling right behind anything MJF's doing. Ricky Starks is a star. He can be babyface or heel. He can talk. He can wrestle. He looks great. I underestimated Hobbs big time on the mic. I thought they'd have to start small, way smaller with him. No, they did not. I was wrong. I would love, if anyone at AEW is listening and has influence, I would love to see you guys invest another 8 minutes a night into these two. Give them time to talk. Give them promos. That weird promo on Friday Night SmackDown that I want to close the show with Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey. Weird in a good way. Was a good example of something that you could do with Hobbs and Starks because you know they're going to fight each other. But if there's something in place where if you fight, then this, and this don't happen. You guys have to, you know what I mean? And then just let them fight. Who cares? But anything. But everything in their story so far has been very, very rushed. And it's always rushed right when it gets good. Right when I start feeling what the dude's saying, the other guy comes in and not in a good way. It's in a way where I go, crap, now it's over. So I would love to see them invest. Maybe 8 minutes is too long, maybe just another 4 minutes, but I would love to see some more time dedicated to their story because I think it could build up to a match that makes people want to buy it to see it and to see what's actually going to happen and how this story's really going to end. Because it just shouldn't end on a random Friday night episode.
Tell me what you think about this. People have always told me, like, I care so much about the story. I care so much about the mic work. I'm always yammering about the wrestlers' looks and their costumes and the whatever. And people always go, no, it's about the wrestling. It's about the wrestling. Nobody cares about all that stuff. Real wrestling fans don't care about this stuff. And so they were so excited for All Elite Wrestling to happen because it was going to be like the real wrestling fans federation, where it was like about the real wrestling and the matches. It was less story and blah, blah, blah. But what do people find themselves watching on All Elite? The stories. It's always about the gossip and the story, because there's some incredible wrestling happening at AEW. I mean, like really, really good stuff. Like Jungle Boy is a star. Like he's doing like great things. The Lucha Brothers and the Lucha Bros and all their like the matches that they're having are every single week incredible. Like as far as like the stuff that they're doing.
When you got Keith Lee, you can and you're a luchador, you can literally jump all over.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much like cool, great wrestling that's happening at AEW, and all I hear about or see on YouTube or text with my friends about is the the thing like the CM Punk and the Scrum and the MJF promos and I'm curious am I just in a weird wrestling bubble, or is this that most of the
No, look, I've always been hard on wrestling fans, and this is one of the reasons why. If it was all about the wrestling and not the reason why the two wrestlers are wrestling, then every shitty B movie, action movie that has no story and people who can't act and it's just all car chases, blood, guts, and fights would all make $100 million in the 90s and $1 billion each today. They don't. They're called B movies. They don't even get distribution. You only see them if you're randomly scrolling on a deep dive on your Xbox movies and it pops up there for $3.99 or at 2 a.m. on Cinemax in the 90s to watch a Cynthia Rothrock film. There's a reason. No, I'm being serious. I know Cynthia Rothrock. I love her, but there's a reason she didn't hit and become a star, because her acting wasn't good enough. And the scripts that she was saying yes to for the karate movies she were doing, they were shit. I happen to love them in the same way you have like a guilty pleasure, right? Like I think Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a great horror movie.
It's very fun.
The cocaine budget was bigger than the real budget, but whatever. But when people say that, I always try to relate it to any kind of entertainment. The same reason when people go, why would you watch something that you know is scripted? Like, why did you ever watch a movie or a television show in your life? That's scripted. So it's a level of sophistication, and that's the word that's going to piss people off. But the people that go, oh, I don't care about all that, it's just a level of sophistication. If you're fast forwarding Heat just to get to the gunfight scene, the first time you're watching the movie, you lack sophistication. If you're doing it the 100th time, party on, man. Let's watch a sick gunfight, man, in surround sound as loud as we can till the neighbors call the cops. But the first time you're watching it, because friggin' Al Pacino's amazing, Robert De Niro's amazing, their story was amazing. You just wanted them to meet, and when they did, which one of them was going to die? And then you found out, and we were all disappointed because we wanted the bad guy to get away at the end. And he doesn't. And I just wrecked Heat for all you scrubs that haven't seen Heat. But that's kind of the way I try to break down the wrestling fans that go, oh, no, just the wrestling versus the ones that are like, yeah, we like the stories. To me, I compare it to B movies and A movies. I'm going to touch briefly on SmackDown.
Okay.
Sami Zayn, once again, the glue, the heart, the soul of Friday nights, to the point where even your boy, the brand new Solo Sikoa, was like, yo, Jay, you're fucking up. I'm bringing out the white oos. He didn't say any of this, but this is what happened. And he brought Sami Zayn out for the North American Championship against Madcap Moss, and he won. But Sami Zayn, once again, showing he can act, he can wrestle, he could sell, he can do comedy, he can do serious stuff. You could feel sorry for him. You can laugh at his failures. He is the glue. But that's not what I want to talk about. I just have to give him love. It was funny to see Braun destroy all of MMM, because I hate MMM. I hate everything about MMM. I just want LA Knight to be LA Knight and be awesome the way he was on NXT. But what I would like to talk about was the Liv Morgan, Ronda Rousey backstage like conference meeting that they had where they were like super close and right in each other's face. The angles on the close-ups, the singles, they had like a master 2-shot, right? You saw both women in profile. And then they would cut to angles. Liv had a lot to say. The angle on her seemed off to me, which made me think there were cue cards involved.
Yep.
But even if there were, fuck it. I thought she was very, very good. She kept it simple. She didn't try to oversell anything. She didn't try to seem desperate. She put her lie out there. I'm the only person that's beaten you twice, even, which is true, but the way she won was still a lie. But now she's taking this heel stance based off where she was last week when she watched Ronda wrestle. She was up in like a private suite looking down, which was kind of heelish. So I think they're going the route. Now, they wanted her to be a babyface, but I think they have to go the route of heel now. And I thought she did a pretty damn good job and challenged Ronda to an Extreme Rules match, which is probably the only way she can legit beat her because she can cheat because there's no rules. And then that can maybe give us a heel champion for a babyface to chase. I'm saying she beats Ronda Rousey, and that's when we get Charlotte Flair back to come in and kill Liv, and then Charlotte can be champ again.
Yeah, here's my worst of the week.
Hit me with it.
I don't care about Ronda Rousey at all. Like I'm so over it. And then
notice I didn't mention what she did.
And then with Liv Morgan, like this was probably the first time she did something that wasn't like super over the top. And I'm so disinterested in anything with her and Ronda Rousey that
it's a tough sell.
Yeah, it's just I don't care.
It's a tough sell. Look, I think this is the best they've done with her so far. I hope they build off this and give her some confidence in this version of her character so she has something to do so that when the champion is on TV, you don't want to change the channel. But you're not wrong. Look, the Ronda thing, they gave her as little dialogue as you possibly can. But even I think she had 3 lines. Even the 3 lines were just rough, man. It's rough. She even had an easy one. Like, you want to challenge me to an Extreme Rules match? Like, it should have been like that. She should have almost been laughing on the line. Yeah. And instead, like, she waits to breathe until the line is over. Like, it's just little acting. Like, if they just got her a little coach who said, hey, don't forget to breathe. Hey, you know how you laughed earlier when you were talking to me because you thought I was full of shit when I said I trained jujitsu and I'm pretty good? And you were like, yeah, I bet you do. Yeah. Do that when she challenges you to this. And it's those kind of notes that can help people. You just got to give them like the cliff notes, right? Like just a little cheat.
Yeah, and she only has like one facial expression. It's always just like the I'm angry face. It's like, ugh.
She can't act. So you got to give her those cheats that she can use and remember just to make it like sustainable. Because like you, once she starts talking, I'm kind of like, whew, here we go. Well, that's not true. All I think about is how I could help, but I'm never going back to her. I end up giving her a note she doesn't like, and she fucking armbar me and snap my shit. And be like, I'm just trying to help you. I'm trying to help you fucking act. What the hell? Act like your arm's broken, bitch. Okay. I'm sorry, Ronda Rousey. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to think that she did like one thing where she tried to laugh, and even that was like terrible acting. But I wonder if that's just how she is in real life or something. Like she's like,
I met her in real life. She was pretty chill, man.
Really?
I met her years ago. Yeah, at like a jiu-jitsu wedding, and she was friends with some of the people that were there. And so I met her there, and we chatted for a bit. And she was cool and pleasant. My wife chatted with her. Nothing like you see on camera.
Oh, really?
There.
Interesting.
On SmackDown, you just see the scowl and, the creased forehead where she just tries to look mean and tough. And that's pretty much what she gives you. She breaks and smiles every once in a while. But on the dialogue, it's just deadpan. Like Dan Severn back in the day. Although, and we'll close on this, Dan Severn's second to last fight, he was fighting this bum. Hardly any training, just like a high school wrestler. Dan Severn was old at this point. And they bring him face to face in the ring. And the referee says, I've explained the rules to both of you in the locker room. Are there any questions? And Dan Severn goes, yes. I know I'm not allowed to put the point of the elbow into his face, but I am allowed to put it into his belly, correct? And the ref goes, that's correct. And I remember going, oh my God, that's the scariest shit I've ever heard. And then this fat kid just beat the shit out of Dan Severn.
Oh, really?
He's like, I don't give a shit where you want to put that elbow. I'm putting my fist in your face and you're going to lose this fight. And he beat his ass and the ref had to stop the fight. I was like, oh my God, Dan Severn just got annihilated. It was great.
It wasn't Tank Abbott.
Like, no, dude, Tank, I respect. This kid was just some, country boy, just a fat kid. I never watched fight in any promotion ever again. But he whipped Dan Severn's ass. So did the Godfather. And on that note, sorry, I just brought up Brawl for All. I promised I would never do that. This is the worst piece of shit ever in wrestling. But I just made a Brawl for All reference.
I love Brawl for All. That's where I'm at.
Oh my God, I hate you so much. It's so just good. Total shit.
It ruined wrestlers' careers too. But I just thought it was yeah. They were always talking trash back there about how they would win in a real fight. Let's see how they.
In the middle of the show where we're supposed to tell you that our toughest, most awesome guys are the real tough guys. Fuck all that. Here's some real fights. Fuck Stone Cold and that fake shit.
They should have done it.
That was the stupidest shit I ever saw.
They should have never recorded it. It should have just been a thing they did,
just for the house show
at a bar or something, just with their, just to see who's gonna.
They did that after shows when they got drunk. Why you got to put it in a ring on TV, man?
For 8 weeks or however long they did it.
We'll do a Brawl for All episode on how much you loved it. And how much I fucking hated it. We'll have to find a way to rewatch it. It was pretty sweet.
Pretty sweet.
What? Bro, I remember when they would cut promos and my buddy, after they were done, would always make the same joke. Why do they only let Billy talk? Even if they let Bart talk? Because he just wasn't good on the mic. And then I heard this story from Bruce Pritchard when I worked there. And I asked him, I was like, why the fuck did that happen? He goes, it wasn't my idea. Fuck that. And he goes, but I will tell you one thing. He said, Terry Funk knew Bart Starr was going to win on day one.
Really?
And he said, what you said. He goes, really? How? What? And he goes, look at that man's scars. You don't have scars like that on your body unless you've been in some real tough fights, Bruce.
That's an impression of Terry Funk.
My impression is Bruce doing Terry Funk because I don't do it as well. But yeah, man. So he knew he was going to win from Jump Street, and that kid, I think, knocked out everybody but one dude, except his tag team partner, Hardcore Holly. That was the only guy who lived through the whole thing. He killed everybody else.
Yeah, and he put the Dr. Death, he just completely ended that guy's run. They were going to introduce him.
Yeah, at the very end, they did a pay-per-view and Butterbean killed him at a pay-per-view. Shocker. But yeah, man, screw you for liking the Brawl for All and calling
I'll take that.
Pretty sweet.
It is pretty sweet, but I definitely deserve to be upset.
Make sure you follow us on social media. Make sure each and every one of you hits up Jeff Dye and just crucifies him for his love of Brawl for All. And tag me on it when you do it so that I can put a heart on that and confirm forever that your take is right. And I won't heart yours, Jeff, any of your responses because your take, and that means your take is wrong because that's the power of a heart.
No, there's some other psychos out there that loved Brawl for All. There's some people like me out there going, that was pretty cool when they did the real boxing in there.
I'm gonna shit all over whoever that person is too when they tweet you and go, nah, Jeff's not totally wrong.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You suck so bad.
That was my best of the week.
Thanks for everybody for listening to this week's episode. We'll get with y'all next week. Hit you with all things wrestling, whether it's WWE, AEW. Peace.
Follow us on our show accounts. Follow us on Instagram, Wrestling with Freddie. Twitter is WWFreddie Pod. Follow us on all the socials so you can submit your questions for the Federation.
This has been a production of iHeart's My Cultura Podcast Network. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.